Chapter 19, Shattered Loyalties. The recorder lay on the table, its small red light blinking faintly as it continued to process the captured audio. The safe house was silent, save for the hum of Samira's computer as she worked to decode and analyze the information they had gathered. Gabriel paced the room, his frustration evident in the sharp staccato of his boots against the wooden floor. Michael stood by the window, staring out at the cityscape that stretched beyond the cracked glass. The distant hum of traffic blended with the faint rustling of wind through the building's cracks, adding to the oppressive stillness. "How much longer?" Gabriel's voice cut through the stillness. Samira didn't look up. "As long as it takes. The encryption on this file isn't like anything I've seen before. They've layered it with biometric keys and time-stamped contingencies. It's designed to self-destruct if tampered with." Michael turned from the window, his arms crossed. "Can you break it?" Samira's fingers flew across the keyboard, her brow furrowed in concentration. "I can, but I need time. And once we access it, there's no guarantee the data will be intact. We're dealing with some of the most advanced systems in the world." Gabriel let out a frustrated sigh and sank onto the couch. "So we're just sitting ducks until then?" "For now," Michael said, his tone even. "We need this intel. Without it, we're blind." Gabriel rubbed his temples, muttering under his breath. "Blind sitting ducks. Great." Samira glanced at him, a flicker of amusement crossing her face despite the tension. "You're surprisingly eloquent when you're annoyed." Gabriel shot her a look, but didn't respond. Instead, he leaned back, closing his eyes. The weight of the mission and its implications hung heavy in the air, a palpable force that none of them could escape. Michael's eyes drifted back to the city, the glow of distant lights a reminder of what they were fighting to protect and how much they stood to lose. Hours later, the silence was broken by the sudden chime of Samira's computer. She sat upright, her eyes scanning the screen. "Got it." Michael and Gabriel moved to her side, their anticipation mirrored in their tense postures. The recorder's audio file had been decoded, revealing a series of directives and a detailed timeline. Samira clicked play, and Carmichael's calm, authoritative voice filled the room. "The activation sequence will commence in 72 hours. All assets are to be positioned according to the predetermined grid. Any deviation will result in immediate termination of the asset in question. Phase 4 is not merely a test, it is the culmination of Nemesis's purpose. Failure is not an option." Michael's jaw tightened as the recording continued, detailing the locations of key facilities and the distribution of Nemesis's operatives. The scope of the plan was staggering. Each location Carmichael mentioned carried implications of far-reaching control, from political capitals to industrial centers critical to global infrastructure. Gabriel let out a low whistle. "They're gearing up for something big." Samira nodded, her expression grim. "Phase 4 isn't just an operational directive. It's a global initiative. If they succeed, they'll have influence over entire nations." Michael's mind raced as he processed the implications. 72 hours. That's all we have to stop this. Gabriel crossed his arms. "How? We can't hit all these locations. Even if we had a team of 100, it wouldn't be enough." "We don't need to hit them all," Michael said. He pointed to the map Samira had pulled up, highlighting a cluster of facilities in a specific region. This is the command nexus. It's where everything feeds back to. If we take it down, we can sever their ability to coordinate Phase 4. Samira studied the map, her eyes narrowing. "That's a heavily fortified facility. It's not just about firepower, it's built to withstand infiltration." Gabriel scoffed. "Of course it is. Why would they make anything easy for us?" Michael ignored the sarcasm, his focus unwavering. "We'll need to divide their attention. Create diversions at secondary locations to draw their forces away from the Nexus. If we can thin out their defenses, we'll have a shot." Samira nodded slowly. "It's risky, but it's the only chance we have." Gabriel sighed, running a hand through his hair. "When isn't it risky?" The next 2 days were a blur of preparation. Samira worked tirelessly to coordinate the diversions, using their limited resources to simulate larger forces and draw Nemesis's attention. Gabriel secured the equipment they would need for the assault, calling in favors from old contacts and scouring black market channels. Michael spent hours reviewing the Nexus's schematics, memorizing every corridor, every security measure. Every detail became a potential weakness, every flaw a possible advantage. As the 72-hour mark loomed closer, the team gathered in the safe house's cramped main room. The tension was palpable, each of them acutely aware of the stakes. Michael addressed them, his voice steady. "This is it. We hit the diversions hard and fast, then move on the Nexus. If we're successful, we can cripple Nemesis's ability to execute Phase 4. Samira nodded, her determination evident. "We've come this far. Let's finish it." Gabriel smirked faintly, his usual sarcasm tempered by the gravity of the moment. "No pressure, right?" Michael allowed himself a small smile. "None at all." The first diversion struck at midnight. A warehouse suspected of housing Nemesis's assets erupted into chaos as explosives planted earlier in the day detonated in a synchronized sequence. The second hit came 30 minutes later, targeting a communications hub in the city's industrial district. Nemesis's response was immediate and aggressive, their forces scrambling to contain the damage. Samira's remote monitoring displayed the chaos in real time, a patchwork of security feeds flickering with panicked movements and hastily deployed reinforcements. As the diversions unfolded, Michael, Samira, and Gabriel approached the Nexus under the cover of darkness. The facility was an imposing structure, its towering walls lined with motion, sensors and automated turrets. Drones hovered in tight patrol patterns, their searchlights slicing through the night. Samira activated her tablet, syncing with the facility's systems. "I can disrupt the sensors and reroute the drones, but it won't hold for long. We'll need to move quickly." Michael nodded. "Do it. Gabriel, take out the outer guards. Samira and I will move on the entry point." Gabriel didn't hesitate, slipping into the shadows and dispatching the guards with quiet efficiency. Each takedown was calculated and swift, ensuring no alarms were triggered. As soon as the perimeter was clear, Samira disabled the sensors, and the trio moved swiftly toward the main entrance. The lock on the door was complex, but Samira bypassed it with practiced ease. Inside, the air was cool and sterile, the faint hum of machinery reverberating through the corridors. The team moved cautiously, their weapons drawn as they navigated the labyrinthine interior. Every step brought them closer to the command center, and the weight of the mission pressed heavily on their shoulders. When they reached the control room, Samira immediately set to work, connecting her tablet to the central terminal. Michael and Gabriel stood guard, their senses on high alert. "How long?" Michael asked, his voice low. 5 minutes, Samira replied, her fingers flying over the keyboard. The sound of approaching footsteps sent a jolt of adrenaline through Michael. He signaled to Gabriel, and the two moved to intercept the incoming guards. The ensuing firefight was intense, the narrow corridors amplifying the echoes of gunfire. Michael's focus was razor-sharp as he fought to protect Samira, each second feeling like an eternity. "Done!" Samira called out, disconnecting her tablet. "We've severed their network. Phase 4's coordination is down." Michael nodded, his relief tempered by the urgency of their situation. "Then let's get out of here." The trio fought their way back to the exit, the facility's alarms blaring around them. As they burst into the night, the weight of their success mingled with the knowledge that the fight was far from over. For now, they had struck a critical blow against Nemesis, but the storm was still gathering.